There we go. On Friday we started, or last class we started TVM. If you've done other work, I would like you to all go back and change these values to what we had, okay? So I'm gonna go apps, finance, TVM solver, change the PY and CY to 4, negative 3,000 for PV, 417 and 20. Make sure you change this. You want to go to future value and go alpha, enter. Okay, you solve for the future value. I will tell you this, folks. There's always one that you don't know that you need to solve for. The tricky part is to find out which one is the one. Okay, that is the tricky part. So I would suggest this. Fill in what you know for sure. Compounding periods, often given. Interest is often given, right? Time and years, folks, if they give you time and years, it's always going to be it's going to be found in N. You need to take the years and multiply it by PY, right? And so fill this in, solve for future value. We already did, right? So you write it down. And I want to say something else about the signs. Yeah. Solve. You got to go negative, not minus. You got to use that negative button at the bottom of your screen, your calculator. Yeah. Got it? Yeah. Guys, the signs, these signs are only for TVM solver. The TVM solver needs to see which way is the money going. We never use these negatives when we're calculating anything. Like any formulas I gave you, do not use the sign and plug a negative into your formulas. Don't do that, okay? The signs are just there for TVM to know which way is this money going. If TVM sees negative 3,000, it knows you're investing it and you're giving it to the bank, okay? So that's number one. Number two, let's recap what we did here. If you want to know how much interest was earned, I would like you to use this option right here. By the way, there are two apps that I would like you to, apps, okay, sum of interest, needs a start, and needs an end. Then that's the first one. Then there's balance. It just needs the years times whatever PY is for it to work. It just needs one number. For the most part, to figure out what end is, you have to take the years that are mentioned and you have to multiply that by PY as well. Okay? That is usually what you put in here. And so what does it allow us to figure out? Interest allows us to figure out the total interest that you've earned. It also allows us to speculate how much interest did you earn in just the first year, or the first 2 years, or the first 3, right? You can figure out along the way as well. Balance. Balance tells you how much you have in your account at any given time. Okay? So these two are very, very helpful. And guess what? These ones base their answer on what you have in your TVM solver. So in order for you to use these ones, you have to escape. You have to quit this screen and go to your main screen to get that to work. So let's go to B. It asks us the interest you earned using two methods. We use the sum of interest. It's 5 years that have gone by, so it's 1, comma, 5 times 4. So it ends up being 1 to 20. If you look up here real quick, this 20 is no coincidence. Watch where it comes from. It tells us use all 20 payments that have happened. You're like, Mr. Dirksen, there are no payments. Well, in this case, if you go 5 years times 4, because every time I compound it, we consider that a payment, you have 20, okay? And so it's from 1 to 20, it's 691.50, or using the formula, you also get 691.50. So that's the interest that you've earned. Now let's go to C here. Calculate, you would like to know how much interest you earned in the first 3 years into the investment. Determine this. We're going to go like this. Sum of interest from the very beginning, so number 1, to 3 times 4 years times PY. So that's sum of interest of 1 to 12. Let's figure out what that is. Grab your calculator. Quit this screen, second mode. I'm going to clear this. I'm going to go apps, finance, and unfortunately sum of interest is way down at the very bottom here. Sum of interest. 1, 12. Close brackets. Hit enter. 397. Does it make sense for this to be positive? This answer? You've earned it, right? Like they gave you that money. The bank has given you that money and it added to your total. Okay, so that's your question. Can you use this formula to figure out how much you've earned in the first 3 years? And the answer is no. Okay, the formula only works for total interest earned over the entire investment. That's why sum of interest is more powerful, because it allows you to do total as well as the first 3, the first 2, right, and so forth. Let's keep going. How much will there be in the account after 4 years? What would I use here? Balance. Balance. I will go 4 years times whatever PY is. So we're going to do that. I'm going to call balance. I have a good joke about balance. Maybe I'll use that in a bit. Balance 16, 35, 41, 49. But Mr. Dirksen, it's negative. Why is it negative? It's with the bank, right? The money's not with you, so we're assuming that it has left you. It's at the bank, so it's okay. But you don't have to write it down, guys. That's the beauty. You just don't have to freak out when you see it. Okay? Don't write it down. So it's 35, 41, 49. And I will make a note because some students get thrown off by this. Note, answer is negative since the money is at the bank. You haven't cashed it yet, right? It's kind of along the way, so it's okay to have negatives. We will leave F. I'm not going to do F. I need you to just keep it simple for now, okay? Keep it simple. Let's continue. I will do one more. Let's go to 37. Here we're going to have an example where you have regular deposits. Yeah. I never worked at a bank. Okay. Anyways, Leonard opens a TFSA account and deposits $10,000. Important, right? What do you think this would be? Out of there's only $3 amounts: PV, PMT, FV. What would this be? Deposits. Is it a payment? Is it a regular payment? No, it's just a one-time deal, right? So I'm going to tell you that that's your present value. The interest rate is 2.58. It's compounded monthly. That is also important. He wonders how long in years it will take him to have $15,000 to buy a Subaru Impreza, right? So has 15,000. What would that be? 15,000. You want to have 15,000 future value. Yes. Okay. Determine how many, as many of the TVM solver numbers as you can. Which one is missing? So let's do that. You have to, there's no option. You have to show us this when you're using the TVM solver. You have to show all of these, okay? Even if you miss one, you lose marks, okay? And I tell you to start from the bottom. What's the compounding period in this? It's compounded monthly, right? So this is 12. Are there any regular deposits made here? No, it doesn't say you're making monthly or bi-weekly or any regular contribution. So this is 0. And if this is 0, PY and CY are always going to be the same. Okay, guys? I will say this, since PMT is 0, we make these the same. So it's almost like the payments are then simply the interest that the bank puts in there. Okay, because every month now you're going to get interest paid out. So there are contributions. This is just not, you're not making them. Future value is the 15,000, right? Yeah. Is it positive or negative? In the future, if it's a bank, right, you're going to take this money out. It's going to come towards you. So it should be positive at that point. In the beginning, when you're depositing it, that should be negative. Okay. Interest rate, do we know that? Yes. So what's missing? What is the one that I don't know? N. Yeah, but however, N is not going to give you the years just yet. Okay? But that's where you're going to find it. At some point, you have to do a little bit of extra work. Let's just forget about the years for now. Do you agree that N is the one that we need to solve for? Solve for it. Let's go for it. Apps, finance, TVM. Start at the bottom. 12, 12. Actually, you don't need to start at the bottom, but when you fill it in. But when I do my inventory, I do. It's probably better to start at the top. I put a, okay, alpha solve, so there you go. It's 188.791 and something. Before we answer, what do we normally do to figure out N if we are able to find it? What do we normally do? Years times PY, correct? So to get the years, you have to go N divided by PY. So we're going to use this to figure out our years. It didn't even ask us for it, but whatever. Years is 188.791 ... divided by 12. Years is 15.73 years. Time is that much, right? Time is 15.73 years. So if it asks you for it, it will take 15 and then some years to do this. But can you add this note? Note N represents the number of payments. So I'm going to use a different color here. If the question had asked how many payments have occurred, therefore 188 or 189 payments occurred. Okay? The bank essentially, guys, the bank put in 188 to 189 payments, and that's the interest that they were putting on there. Okay, so if they ask for payments, you need to give us a whole number. If they ask for time, you may answer this way. So this is time, this is number of payments, so you got to differentiate between that. And there will be nuances along the way that we're going to have to figure out. Okay, keep going. After doing the calculation in A, Leonard realizes that it will take way too long to just, like 15 years, I mean, come on, yeah. Since he gets paid bi-weekly, he sets up automatic deposits of $50 every 2 weeks. How long in years will it take to save up for the $15,000 now? Let's set up our inventory. There should be 7 entries, okay? So everything stays the same. The compounding stays the same. What about payments? We're now making $50 every 2 weeks. What does that mean? Bi-weekly. And so how many a year? How many payments a year? 26. You better have that on your study sheet if you don't know it, right? So this is now different. Future value, we still want 30,000. In this case, the payment is $50. What sign will it have? Who are you giving it? You're giving it to the bank, right? So it'd be negative 50. Present value, we started with 10 grand. What sign does it get? Negative, very important. Interest rate is still 2.58. And we'll solve for n. That's the only one we can solve for. Okay, I just need, yeah. Because we want, oh, it's 15,000, right? Thank you. My bad. Sorry, this is supposed to be 15,000. I was thinking of another question I just wrote minutes ago. Thank you. 15,000, sorry, that didn't change. Okay, before you solve, very important. It is important that these are negative. If one is positive and one negative, guys, you're not going to get the right answer, because right now, both of them being negative tells TVM what? That you are putting that money into the bank. Okay, it's both of these amounts are going into the same pool of money, okay? So negative and negative. Let's solve for n. You got to change some things. I go 0 for n for now. I'm going to change it to negative 50. I need to change PY to 26, and watch the annoying part. It changes CY to 26 automatically. So you have to override it back to 12, because compounding is still 12. You are putting 26 payments every month. Go back to the top, solve for N. And that's 80.21, right? I'm going to write down all those decimals. That keeps going. It says how long in years will it take? How long in years? So time is 80.2144 divided by PY, which is 26. And that is 3.09 years. Much faster as opposed to the 15-year project, right? Question?
How do we take that N and then put it into?
Oh, you can't copy paste that one, if that's what you're asking. That's why I would suggest just write down at least 4 decimals and then just go to your main screen and just divide it.
So even with like 4 decimals and stuff?
If it's 4 decimals, you'll be fine. Because you're not multiplying by something else that has 4 or more decimals, you're always going to divide it by a whole number, so you're going to be fine. You know what? I'm actually probably lying to you. If you figure out how to copy paste one of these values, please let us know. Okay? There's always people in the class that know way more than me. If you figure it out, please let me know. Don't just hold on to that secret, okay? How to copy things out of TVM and paste it into your home screen. I'm sure it's possible. Okay, hold on. I'm going to put a twist to it because I can't do too many examples. So, can I just create my own story here? My own ending? So what if question asked for the minimum number of payments to have enough dot dot dot. So what if the question says how many payments are required to have enough money? What would you say? You have to use this number right here. Can you say 80.21? You can't. What would you say to be safe to make sure you have enough money? Would you say 80? Then you won't quite have enough because there's a little bit left, right? 81, say 81 if that's the case. At least 81 payments are required. The idea is if it's asking for payments is that we need a whole number. That's the idea. We can't have decimal of a number. Okay? This is probably just like an aside. Okay? I will ask you to for C, how much interest was earned in B. So we're gonna get rid of this. I just want to ask you how much interest was earned in B in this scenario here. Determine the rate of return. I don't need you to do rate of return, or will I? I will. That one I will. Just hang in there, okay? I know it's a little dry. TVM is not the funnest, but so how much interest? Can I use sum of interest in this case? You may not have paid attention because it's Friday and you were like, I'm just looking forward to the weekend. But if n is not a whole number, you cannot use sum of interest. You cannot, okay? So can't use this one since n is not a whole number. So I have to use this formula. Ti is equal to future value minus present value minus n times PMT. You have to take away how much you've put in right at the up front and also all the payments you've made from the future value. So let's do that. 30,000 minus the 10,000 minus 80.2144. That's what n is. Times 50. What's up with the 30? Ay, ay, ay. Don't worry, everything else is still good. Everything else is still good. I'm just making sure you're still paying attention. Yikes. Yikes. Not a good start to the week, I'm telling you that. $989.28. So about $1,000 interest, okay? You must have this formula. I would say have that on your study sheet. It only works for investing. When we're further down the road, I may give you a summary of investing versus loans, and we're gonna have it all kind of summarized, okay? But for now, you just have to have it like that. You're gonna have to separate them. Okay, one more thing. I will do D before I do the rate of return. How much was invested in each scenario? We're just going to say how much was invested in B, okay? What do we call this? What do we call the money that you invest, like the money that you put in? Out of, remember API, future value, principal, and interest? Principal is the money you've put in. If you add your principal and the interest together, that's the future value, okay? So we call this principal. I would highlight that because a lot of students forget about the principal, right? You'd rather not be in the principal's office, right? Anyways, principal. So in this case, principal, this is also a formula worth having on your study sheet, which I already gave you before. It's everything that you put in the present value, like the stuff you start with, plus n times PMT. So let me get this one right here this time, okay? I promise. No more 30,000 in here. So 10,000 is what you started with, plus I made these payments, right? N times PMT, I'm going to cheat off the top here. I'm just going to copy that. That gives me a total of $14,010.72. That's the principal. That's how much money you've put in. Okay? And it grew to 15,000, right? The rest the bank did. Okay? Now, this section here is my rate of return. Rate of return, to reiterate, is future value minus principal divided by principal. All of that times 100. Future value is 30,000, no, 15,000. See, I told you I was going to catch it next time. 15,000 minus the principal divided by the principal. All of that times 100. What do we call when we go future value minus principal? What is left? That is really the interest, right? So I'm just going to go take this number. So if you catch that, you don't have to do this work. Divided by 14,010.72 times 100. That gives you 7.06%. And what is it, 40? I'm going to come back to it.